Okay, just want to make sure that we are live right now. Let me just do a quick check on my end. Hey guys, if you can see me live, you can just share with me with a thumbs up or just type something. Great. Well, so a heads up, I'm a little bit under the weather, so I'm having this kind of flu going on since this afternoon's appointment. So in case I sneeze or I need to reach out for my tissue throughout the entire session, just bear with me. And since I announced that I'll be doing this live, I also do not want to disappoint every single one of you. So let me just make sure that we are all ready to go. Yeah, the weather is crazy. Great. It seems that we are live right now. Cool. That's good. That's good. All right. So today, what I'm going to really do is to share with every one of you here a very special session. And I just decided to do this since I just compiled all the new informations regarding the reserve residences. So I just want to make sure that I'm getting this out to you guys in the first-hand information as early as possible. Just give me a second to make sure that we are all aligned on this. Great. Cool. So now we're live right now. And for those who are joining us for the first time, welcome. Welcome to Singapore Real Estate Insider. We are here to really share with you a lot about strategies, tips of properties. And in the Think Property series, this is what we are doing right now. That's where we uncover new properties, new launches, also the post launches that has just been put out. What are the advantages, what are the disadvantages, what are the do's and don'ts of those properties, and how we as homeowners should look at those properties to make an informed decision for our purchase. So today we are very excited because I'm going to share with you something that is the hottest topic of the town, okay? And I'm going to share with you some insights, some information that we just gotten out regarding this project, and also how you as a homeowner can take some of this information to make your own decision better. So the question is, are you aware that for the reserve residences, only 75% of the units are to be launched only? Okay, what? You know, are they really so confident that they only need to release 75% of those units out to sell for this new launch project? So which project am I talking about? Of course, this is where you can get every single thing, which is the integrated project plus transport hub, the reserve residences. So you want to stay on in today's session. Why? Because I'm going to give you three things, and I'm going to share with you at the towards the end of the session, right? What I like about reserve residences. Okay, three things, and I also will share with you three things that I personally don't like about reserve residences using our proven 5 points analysis in the REI method. So the question is the integrated property usually overpriced? You know, and what is happening in the beauty world transformation area that everybody is flocking there? You know, what must I look out for in this project that have almost everything? You know, almost, you know, that's the word keyword. The word keyword is almost. And of course, which layout to go for, because I can share with you, there's plenty and there's too many layouts in this reserve residences. So I've done all the hard work, all the guessing work you don't need to do, because I'm going to share with you a quick way to do a comparison later on. So for those of you who are joining us for the first time and you just joined in, my name is Edmund Tan here. I'm one of the co-founder for Singapore Real Estate Insider. In this Think Property series, that's where we want to talk to you and share with you about this exciting project, the development, the reserve residences. So in this video, I'll cover a lot in details using our proven 5-point analysis to uncover how the reserve residences project stands out among the rest of the projects currently. So you want to stay throughout the entire video because I will be providing you my views, my insights with data and numbers to back it up. And of course, if you have yet to subscribe to this channel, smash the subscribe button and help me to grow this channel out so you can constantly be updated when there are new projects in the pipeline, because I can assure you there are many more coming out in 2023. So let's just do this while I share the screen. Thank you so much for those who are just joining us. Great, great. Give me a second while I just switch my screen here so you guys can, see whatever that I see. Okay, cool. So I just want to give you guys a quick summary. All right, so we're going to cover quite a fair bit of things today. So one of the key things that you must understand that for this land parcel at the reserve residences, it was actually tendered quite a while back in 2021 by Far East organization as well as Cindior Group. So you may definitely have heard about these two big names, and they are not first timer in new launches, right? So they have been established in the market for quite a fair bit. And one of the key things is that we are always looking at the data and the numbers. So one of the key factor for this information is that you must understand that this is an integrated transport hub residential project. So what they did was government actually put out this tender, and it's not about who bids the highest price will get this property. The developers will have to submit plans on how are they going to integrate this entire transport hub as well as the residential condo together. So this is a very unique way of making sure that the design, the connectivity, everything fits into a bigger plan of how Singapore wants for beauty world transformation. So from here you can see that the average per square foot should be about 2003 to 2005 as per reported, and we are going to talk about maybe at least about 845 units. So later on I'll be giving you the specific data, the number of units, the kind of layouts, and we're going to dive into this information very, very shortly. So for this project, of course, this is not just normal condominiums. Okay, so that's what the main difference for the reserve residences is that this is not just a project with number of units, facilities, that's all. But reserve residences has also a bus interchange in it. It's also a commercial development. And you hear me right, so reserve residences is going to be an integrated transport hub with a fully air-conditioned bus interchange. All right, so it's not only going to have that, it's going to have a very decent size shopping mall, and it has also a direct link to the Beauty World MRT station. And all in all, the development is going to be coming with 732 residential units. So that's the first thing that you must know, 732 residential units. There's going to be a very unique point, which is 160 service apartments. All right, so that is one of the most interesting part, where a residential, a shopping mall integration, and there's a service apartment as well. So I'm definitely know that Cindior Group and Far East have some foresight to determine why would they want to build these service apartments there, and we will uncover some of all this information shortly. And the entire reserve residences will occupy at least 219,000 square feet of commercial space, which is almost the same size as Wisma Atrium. So can you imagine buying into reserve residences and you have a shopping mall like Wisma just at your doorstep, or practically within a lift down, and you're able to go into Wisma Atrium? I know I love that. Of course, for today, whatever that I share with you, do take your own initiative to make sure that the information are accurate. So this is a disclaimer. Any data, any numbers that we provided, please do your due diligence checks as an investor or as well as a homeowner to make sure that everything is done properly here. So let us quickly run into the details of the reserve residences. And so this is the information that we have gotten, and this is the latest information. So reserve residences is covered by Cindior Group as well as Far East organization. So you can see there's a lot of information here, but generally, let me just uncover some of the most important part. So this is in District 21. Okay, this is in District 21 in the RCR zone. Okay, RCR zone. All right. So this being a leasehold property, just take note that the leasehold starts actually since 2021. That's when they purchased the land. So this is something that we have to take note of. And the number of stories, they have quite a fair bit in terms of the different sorry about it, different designs, different layouts. That's why you can see that they have the low-rise towers from 6 to 11 floors, the mid-rise from 4 to 16 floor, as well as the high-rise 4 to 32 floors. A total number of units of 732 units, and they consist of 1 bedroom all the way to 5 bedrooms as well as penthouses. So interestingly, we are still seeing a lot in terms of the configurations. They are having a lot of 1 and 2 bedrooms. And from the latest information, the 75% units released in this launch for the first initial launch are mainly the 1 and 2 bedrooms. And one of the reasons why you asked me is definitely this project is going to attract a lot of investors. So the 1 and 2 bedrooms, definitely, in my opinion, will run very quickly. And later on, as we understand from the layout, the facing, then you will understand why for Shino groups as well as Far East organization, they set up their design that way. Okay, we can uncover it shortly. So very importantly is we also must understand how many car parks, because this is not just a residential site. There's also commercial space involved. There's also the service apartment involved. So the total number of lots we have is 586 lots, as well as 126 on level 1. You see, so there are also the bicycle lots. So as estimated TOP, we're talking about 2028 to 2031. This is all just expectations of when the completion is it. Likely it will always be earlier. But one thing to take note, because this is such a mega project with your interchange, your integrated transport hub, your shopping mall, service apartment, and the condominium, definitely the building phase is definitely going to take a little bit longer than usual. All right, so stay tuned, as if you are somebody who's able to wait and see the whole development of how Beauty World transformation is like, this one project is something that you don't want to miss it out. And let us go right straight into the details. So let me just give you a glimpse about how it looks like. And this is definitely a once in a lifetime opportunity in Bukit Timah. So since about 2018, 2017, we have been speaking about the entire Beauty World transformation. And some of our clients who bought into this area, they already see significant growth in terms of their property prices, the value. And what makes this exciting for the next 5 years to 7 years is because the entire Beauty World transformation is going to be completed by 2030. So we are definitely in the midst of it. And that is also the reason why we are seeing a lot more vibrancy, a lot more attention in the Beauty World area where the reserve residences is. So for reserve residences, you can see that there are basically 3 active tower frontages along the Bukit Timah Road and Jalan Jurong Kechil along there. And the entire development is massive. You're right smack in the center of Beauty World, right smack in the center of where the activities are. And that's why when they design this, they have put a lot of thought to ensure that the busyness of the area will not handicap your lifestyle, will not handicap the views that you're going to get. And later on, we will study on a little bit on the views shortly. So let me just quickly run through who are the developers. Of course, none other than FICE organization. They have been very, very popular in terms of building very unique standalone properties. And this definitely for reserve residences, I could say that it's going to be another yet iconic properties like what they have done for so many different projects over the years. They are one of the longest lasting developers, the oldest developers that we have. And with Shino Group, and this is a very unique combination because they brought in one of my favorite architects in Singapore, okay, which is Woha. Okay, so Woha is definitely a award-winning architecture and industrial design, where they put in a lot, not just about buildings, but they put in a lot of greeneries, all right, greeneries in the development. So if you can remember some of the properties that you have seen when you drive along Park Royal on Pickering Street, you will be able to see all the floating gardens. And I always like to call them the avatars. Okay, so whenever I drive towards Outram and Chinatown, I always say, hey, the avatar building is there. So this is definitely a very wow factor when it comes to a form of design, and being in a very iconic structures in the center of Beauty World. With this kind of design by Woha, it definitely will give you the attraction from different buyers. Even with our overseas friends, they will definitely see this as a very iconic property. So this is what they have done in terms of the schools of the arts. And of course, one of their latest property is what we have bought in 2018, and we have just sold it in 2021, is the Trevor. Okay, so the Trevor in Potong Pasir is also by Woha, and you can see very similar style of the avatar, the greens and everything in Trevor as well. So I'm very excited to see how reserve residences with such a massive land space, how are they going to transform it into a more urbanized approach, yet you still get the greeneries, the gardens inside reserve residences. And we're going to see how the designs and the perspective later on as well. So a great job having Waha to come in to kind of set the bar high in this situation. All right. So of course, for the architects, they are trying to do this right based on what they were sharing. And during the sharing session that we have, we understand that the entire development is going to link to the MRT station. So that's where the Beauty World MRT station is. And we're going to have a bus interchange that is also going to be run underneath. So you can see that the bus interchange is going to be right here. We have the retail malls as well. And very importantly, this is a very unique, one of a kind integration that we have service residences. All right, so service residences, generally, we do see them in Orchard Road, District 9, we're talking about the downtown area, Shenton Way, but very seldom we do see service apartments in the RCI area. So this is definitely something of a big plan that Far East and Shino Group has in mind, or perhaps the government has in mind, to really transform how the entire Beauty World area is, because it's so close to Upper Bukit Timah, which a lot of things are changing, as well as the Bukit Timah belt. All right, so this is going to be very iconic with this service apartment there together. All right, so if you know Far East, which is of course everybody knows, they will also be the mall operator for the retail space. And if you have seen how they have done it, especially for the Waterway Point, you can see that they do have the experience of running huge mega shopping malls like this. So I'm very excited to see what kind of tenant mix. The last updates that we have is definitely Cold Storage is definitely going to be one of the main anchor tenants. And of course, along the way, I will also furnish you with more information of who are the other tenants that's going to be part of it. So it's very exciting to see what is going to be happening. All right, so this is a very prestigious area, and in this iconic reserve residences, is going to kind of give a very big change in the entire Beauty World area, and along with the entire Beauty World transformation. So we're going to see quite a fair bit of changes here, and that's where the rejuvenation process comes. As we understand, Beauty World area, there's a lot of shopping malls, but they are all we kind of built from the 1980s. So they're kind of a little bit dated. The shops are old. So with this new injection of rejuvenation of new properties, we might be seeing a major shift that the older properties may in turn may be able to go for en blocks, or maybe they want to do a revamp themselves to make sure that this area is more lively. So this is something I would say Far East and Shino Group is kind of leading the pack. Leading a pack with such mega transformation in terms of the retail space, and to kind of swap your older type of style to a newer one. Okay, let me see. All right, so you can see that the entire design is perfectly, very, very well maintained, in time to come. And what we see is that with this development, if you are a resident there, you will be spoiled for choice, because you have the interchange, you have the retail malls, you are staying in that condo. And later on, I'll share with you a little bit more of how the design is going to help you as a resident. And we're going to study some of the layouts as well. And this time around, we're going to do something very different for the layouts to let you see comparison of the 1, 2, and 3 bedrooms at the bare minimum, so that we can actually cut short some of the time. Yeah. So another point to take note, the reserve residences is also a connection. There's a connection towards a community hub in future. So later on, I'll show you the design and the images. You can see from it better. Let me see whether I can find the images from here. Let me give me a second. Well, I shall show you from the floor plan after this. All right, so let's take a look at the entire floor plan. Okay, the site plan itself. All right, so reserve residences is actually right smack in the center of Beauty World, connected by all the different roads, Upper Bukit Timah Road, Jalan Anak Bukit, and as well as the PIE site, which is at the bottom side. So you can see that from here, I would like to say that the reserve residences is aimed towards not just investors, okay? Even for homeowners who want to buy the properties there to stay. There's tons of reasons why, and I will cover some of the reasons why this area is also perfect for homestay. Okay, so that's very important. However, based on the entire layout of this plot of land, there are two issues that I think buyers will have when it comes to this property. So first of all, there are quite a few stacks that are facing directly, excuse me. There are quite a few stacks that are directly facing to the west. So what are the west? These are the west kind of facing. So this could be a setback, okay, in terms of what kind of properties that you want to choose. And the reason why developers are trying to position them is so that you get to maximize your views. Does it make sense? So if you don't want the view, then you choose the one inside. But if you really want to get the unblocked high floor, maximize the views, and you will want to choose those that is facing the west. And it will be very beautiful because from a high level point of view, you're getting unblocked all the lower landed properties in that area. And I would say the views is definitely going to be unbelievable. So of course, besides the west sun, another concern that maybe some of us will have is, of course, the road noises. All right, so for those who have been there, you can't hide away the fact that you're right smack in the center of the entire traffic. Okay, so the road noises coming not just from the PRE, the Abu Bukit Timah, as well as Jalan Anak Bukit, is a very noisy, a very busy street. Very, very, very busy. So you can't avoid the road noises coming out from it. But of course, what we understand is the developers are definitely going to put in buffer, for the different projects, different layout types. And there's also a particular reason why they place the service apartments here. Okay, there's also a reason. It's to kind of shield off the traffic noise. Okay, so as much as a developer wants to provide the best, there are certain things due to nature. They will also know that as a consumer, as a buyer ourselves, we are also very particular about road noises as well as west sun. So as much as they can, they will want to minimize this to allow us to buy the property comfortably, and we can stay there happily as well. All right, so these are some of the things that we understand, that for the units, they will be buffered for filters, as well as they'll be catering screens to kind of reduce the noises, as well as for, at least for the higher, the mid floor levels, they may be providing a lot more of this. So a lot more details are still coming in as we speak. So we will just have to wait for the final announcement of what are they going to provide us. So for the entire development, you can see that they do have quite a fair bit of different types of units, ranging from 1 bedrooms all the way to 5 bedrooms. And we're going to cover all the 1 bedrooms to 3 bedrooms comparison, because there's a lot. Okay, there's a lot of layout, and later on when I share with you, you will know what I mean. Or there's a lot of layout there that we just want to make sure that we go through the 1 and the 1, 2, and 3 bedrooms first. All right, so the entire development, there's also a very comfortable setback that you can see. So if let's say today you are really going for quietness, you want a little bit more quiet area, then you may want to choose the inward facing, the pool. All right, and a good part is that the blocks between one to each other is at least 45 meters away. So that gives you a good distance between your block and the other block, and all your facilities is rounded up in the center. So there's a 50-meter lap pool and a bunch of facilities. Okay, we're talking about dining pavilions, barbecue pits, cabanas. So there's quite a fair bit of facilities on the ground floor level. Of course, the facilities also spreads all the way to the 32nd, 33rd, 17th, 12th, 6th, and 5th story. And there are different activities and facilities in all these levels. So what I will say that what the developers have done here is really to cater as much facilities as possible, because being such a big one, and with the service apartment there, it can actually add on to the lifestyle that you are going for in a very well-connected transport hub interchange. And if you can see on the far left side where I circle, so this is actually a link bridge over to the community hub in future, where right now is the hawker center, the open car park. Yeah, so after development, for reserve residences being done up, there will be a link bridge over to the new community hub where they will consist of the market, the hawker centers. Then they will definitely put in maybe certain even polyclinic, which is very commonly now seen in happening in a lot of neighborhoods. So this is also going to be another plus point, that besides being a retail space, being a transport hub, they are also linking it to the wet markets as well as hawker centers. So I'm really excited because there's a lot of good food there, right? I'm sure many of you who have been there, you will know. So this is definitely one of the additional key points that why reserve residences is the talk of the town today. and a lot of people are excited about it. Of course, it still comes down to the pricing later on, which I will give you a good sense about what kind of price point should we be expecting. Is it all just hype that, oh, this is so good, integration? Are we actually paying a huge premium because of the integrated project? Because usually integration, it takes a bit longer, as well as the price may be a little bit higher, more premium. So later on, we're going to study that. So don't go away, stay tuned and see what we have in store for you. So let's take a look at the floor plan. Okay, so as I mentioned, there's a lot of different collections in reserve residences. We're talking about the reserve residences collection, which covers from the 1-bedroom all the way to the 3-bedroom and plus study, as well as a horizon collection, which is the 3-bedroom and the 4-bedrooms type. So like I said, there are many different layouts, many different sizes. Of course, I'm not going to cover every single one. So I'm going to do something very unique later on to kind of do a comparison of some of the key property layout. Okay, and from there, we will see how we can help to kind of do a comparison from the layout per se. So let me just give me a second while I just switch my screen to open up the information. All right, so besides this, there's also the Creekside collection. So the Creekside collection is mainly nearer to the PIE facing. Okay, and the reason is they also want to use Creekside collection to kind of cover up a lot of the noises portion. And the last but not least is the Treetops collection. Treetops collection, we're talking about a little bit more premium. We're talking about from 4 bedrooms, 5 bedrooms onwards. Yeah, so the layout and the facing, because there's just so many. So I will really urge every one of you, before you even head down, reach out to us if you need some help to allow us to analyze for you and help you to pinpoint what kind of properties is more suitable for you. And we can advise you on the kind of facing as well as the floor level that potentially you might be able to actually go for in the reserve residences, because there's just too many, or too many until if you want to go through every single layout, it's going to take you a long time, which is why we as consultants here are here to help you to kind of get yourself clearer in your objective, what is your needs, and then we zoom into that 2 to 3 kind of more specific layout type that you can choose from. And that's what we do to help you. So give me a second while let me share with you another perspective from the layout. Just give me a second. Let me just make sure that we are in the right. Okay, so let's study the layout a little bit. And I just want to give you, let me share my screen from another side. A second. Cool. All right, so as I mentioned, there are so many different types, right? But what we're going to do is, it's quite impossible to kind of do all the comparison. Okay, so what I will be doing here is to really draw your attention to a few comparison. Let me see. All right, so we're going to cover the 1-bedroom. Okay, we're going to cover the 1-bedroom as well as 2-bedroom and the 3-bedroom first. Okay, so let's just cover these 3 to do a comparison. So generally for 1-bedroom, they can't go too much off from a typical 1-bedroom layout. So we have 2 different sizes, mainly the 441 square feet as well as the 495 square feet. And we have the 495 bigger unit as a show flat. So you can't see much difference. The only main difference is that the smaller unit do not have a balcony, which is a very rare approach for a 1-bedroom, because typically most of the developments right now, even for 1-bedroom, you will get a balcony. So I'm sure this is part of a strategic approach where if let's say today you are choosing the smaller 441 square foot, one bedroom, likelihood your facing should be nearer to the road noises. And without the balcony, it can actually show off some of all these disturbance. So with the bigger 495, which is definitely a more popular design and layout, where you can go for a higher floor, sit on the balcony, enjoy unblocked view. That depends whether do you enjoy the west sun facing, because that's where the fantastic view is going to be. Yeah, so typically the layout is an open concept kitchen. You have enough space for your dining, living. So the one bedroom is typically quite common. All right, so let us go to the two bedroom type. So two bedroom types, we have B1, B2, and B3, mainly 560 square feet. Also, just do take note, they did build smaller two bedroom units. Okay, typically a two bedroom should hover about 700 square foot at the bare minimum. But this time around, they have built them smaller. And not only that, if you take a look at even the three bedrooms, they are generally not the biggest. So I think one of the reasons from my own analysis is because they want to fit in more units into this development to make it make sense, to make it more worthwhile. So which is why typically their sizes are not as big as what we have seen in the general market. But let's just take a look whether the sizes is a huge concern. Because if the layout, the configuration is great, even a smaller size development will not have that kind of problem. So if you look at the two bedroom, and these are all the two bed and one bath. So let's just take a look at the first one. So typically everyone who buys a two bedroom, we will love for we call it a dumbbell layout. What does dumbbell layout means? Meaning you have one bedroom on one end and then another bedroom on the other side of it, which is why it calls a dumbbell unit. And your living hall basically cuts right in the center. Okay. So for the same thing, developer also managed to create a smaller size with no balcony. So it gives you as a consumer choices, right? Whether are you a balcony lover or you don't want a balcony, you can get to choose the 560 square feet with an open concept kitchen, living hall, everything is very comfortable. Okay. And if you go to the center, where the size is definitely a little bit bigger, 614, because of the balcony space. All right, your balcony space right in the center, you can enjoy the view if you are able to buy on a higher floor. So the interesting part for another 614 square foot unit is that you can see this is also another dumbbell unit. All right, but the difference, you can see from here, they cut out a space for your dining area. Okay, so something will give, and something when we see certain things like this, we also must find out, okay, then where are the other stuff that maybe they reconfigured. So if we can see from here, they enter in from a kitchen, open concept kitchen. But interestingly is they have a tuck-in dining space, which is definitely a workable area, because a lot of times when we go to a two-bedroom, you will not have space for your dining area. But this one, they actually configured one space just for dining. And of course, we can argue the fact that we can easily put the dining at the balcony for these purposes so that you can enjoy a bigger living space. So that will work as well, you see. Yeah, so for the 2+1 bedroom configuration, it seems like a doable a layout, especially the size. Okay, let's take a look at another configuration for two bedroom. All right, so these are the two bedrooms and two bathrooms. And generally, whether you're buying for own stay, for investment, I will always suggest to go for at least a 2-bed and 2-bath. Why? Because from a functionality perspective, it makes sense. You have 2 rooms, you have 2 baths, which means even from an investable angle, I can actually rent this property out to 2 different tenants. They have their own space, they have their own toilet to make use of. So this is definitely an ideal 2-bed, 2-bath. And with a dumbbell unit, a dumbbell layout is even more attractive, right? Because first of all, there's no wasted spaces. You get 2 rooms on each side. They have their own bathroom. They don't disturb each other. And they can enjoy a communal space in the center with the living and dining. So this is a very typical, on the far left, a very typical 2-bed, 2-bath layout with balcony. Right. So of course they have the Bigger one, 667, not much difference. Just a little bit of the bigger size. So don't ask me why they have so many different layouts, because it's just Far East. They like to build so many different configurations. And one of the advantages is that it allows consumers to have more choices on what works best. So the only main difference between the 2-bed and 2-bath, you want to take a look at B6. Okay, B6 is the only configuration where it's also 667 square feet, but their configuration is a lot different. All right, so the 667, remember this is a 2-bed and 1-bath configuration. So if we put it side by side, you can see the difference. Okay, excuse me on that. All right, so the show flat, of course, they will show you the bigger 2-bed and 2-bath, and the 2-bed and 2-bath for 743 square feet. This is the very conventional 2-bed layout. Okay, where you have the two sides kitchen. What I like about this is that instead of one panel of your open kitchen, this has a two kind of a kitchen top area, which makes it more functional. And your dining and your living hall space is all well regular layout. And this is a very typical one where you walk into your corridor. That's where you go to your first bedroom and then your master room at the center. Yeah, so this one is not the normal dumbbell unit. It still works, all right? So from so many different projects, usually the dumbbell unit may be priced a little bit more premium than the conventional ones. Okay, so it really depends on what's the developer strategy. But so we are guessing that from a investable perspective, they may want to price the 2-bed, 2-bath dumbbell unit a little bit more premium, because they understand a lot of Singaporeans know the dumbbell is an efficiency, no wastage of spaces. So they may want to, price that a little bit different. Okay. So of course, we want to also take a look at the 3-bedroom, the 3-bedroom type, which is very common, especially if you're buying for your own stay. So a minimum a 3-bedroom type. But if you can see the C1 and C2 configuration, these are the smaller 3-bedroom. Okay, the smaller 3-bedroom. And let us take a look at how their sizes are like. Let's take a look. A second. Okay, so actually they don't have the smaller size configuration. Wait a minute. Let me see. I think there's some changes. Yeah. Okay. So this is the smaller 3-bedroom layout. Okay. So typically a 3-bedroom is ideal for small family, right? And usually the small 3-bedrooms, they don't come with your yard area, your storage area. So you may have to do with your additional storage space, to build additional storage space, or even for your, what do you call this, your bed storage. All right, so that's the alternative that you can do. But typically this configuration, what I basically like is that they managed to create a dumbbell unit for a 3-bedroom. Okay, for the smaller unit. So this is of course to maximize the space a little bit more. And with your, usually a 3-bedroom, you come in is a direct kitchen, but what they did manage to do is to tuck in this kitchen. Okay, which is definitely a good touch, so that you do not have a direct line of sight for your kitchen into your dining space. And they even be able to fit in even a round table for your dining, and the width for the living hall seems to be very, very comfortable with the balcony space. So all the bedrooms, you can see the common rooms can definitely fit in a queen bed, and the master room a king bed configuration. So one of the key thing that for this design for 883 square feet for 3-bedroom, do understand the aircon latch are all outside. Okay, the aircon latch are all outside. So the only maybe the view that you can really get fully is from the living hall where the balcony is. So the other configuration of 958 is very similar. If you see, but what they do is they have a enclosed kitchen instead. So what you come in, you have a full foyer where you can build in your your shoe cabinets, your accessories cupboards. And when you come in, you have a full-fledged kind of close-up kitchen. and you have a proper space where you can put in your dining area. So typically, I personally prefer this 958 3-bedroom layout. Although the size is not the maximum, not the most advantageous, because it lacks yard area, it lacks the storeroom, but it still works well. I think it's a very clever design where they built a dumbbell layout, okay, for a 3-bedroom, which is very, very rare in today's marketplace, where we have seen thousands of different type of layouts and units. So this is typically what, if I'm going for a smaller one, if your price point there's a concern and you really do need a 3-bedroom, I think the 958 square foot unit will be better. Not only just better, but in terms of in future when you want to sell, the homeowners, families will still be preferring this kind of layout configuration. Right. That says, can you also configure this to kind of do a rental? Well, basically, you can do wonders with a 3-bedroom if you know how to do it. And we can discuss more if you're intending to kind of maximize your rental a little bit based on the configuration that you're going to purchase. But let us look into the 3-bedroom bigger types of unit. Okay, so this is the Creedside collection. So Creedside collection is nearer to the PIE side. So you have to, something gives, right? If you want the best of, the sizes, then we have to sacrifice certain stuff. And the Creedside collections are the only ones that the 3 bedrooms have balcony, and you will have full-fledged windows for your own rooms. Okay, so if you take a look at the smaller ones, they're all aircon ledges. Okay, so just take note. What else? For the Creedside 3-bedroom, which is the bigger ones, the 1,119 square feet, as well as the 1,163. So this is your typical 3-bedroom where you still get storage, you still got perhaps a WC or even a yard. So let's just take a look at C6 and C7. Both are also dumbbell size. They are basically the same size, it's just that the configuration is a little bit different. So if you can see for C6, when you come in, you have a kind of enclosed kitchen. And the good part is that there's also a WC, okay, that you can make use of. There's a household shelter, which generally you will use it to do storages, or if let's say you have a helper, you will house your helper in the household shelter. And that's where the WC is. So typically this design is the most convenient, most ideal for a small family with kids, okay, because they can house more stuff. There's more storages. And if you can see, they did a dumbbell. 1 bedroom is actually on the far left, and your 2nd bedroom as well as a master room. So all the rooms also can fit in queen, and your master room is actually very comfortable. You have a very big area, entrance area, where your wardrobe is before you reach into your bed. So but personally, I also prefer this for a bigger layout. And all of them are basically the same. It's just a size difference, not much adjustments. So the only difference for C7 is that there's a private lift. Okay, so there's a private lift for C7, same size, but with an additional private lift, which means when you come out from a private lift, imagine you walking out into your unit. If you do a very nice renovation and design, you're welcome with your dining space and then your living area. Very, very classy, welcoming any of your guests to be here. And when they build it this way, what I personally like is because your private lift is not directly looking into your kitchen. Can you see? So when you come in from a private lift, it doesn't see your kitchen. You have to kind of make a turn, which makes your kitchen, your household shelter, kind of a private area by itself. So when you are entertaining your guests, whoever comes into a unit, when they come out of the private lift, they go into the living area immediately. So this is a very clever layout, I would say, with the additional of the private lift. So the show flat unit that we are going to showcase is the 1,163 size. Difference basically is very similar, just that there's no private lift. Size-wise, it's just a little bit bigger than C6, whereas the rest of the configuration are very similar. Okay, so these are the 3 different layout for 1 bedroom, 2 bedroom, 3 bedrooms. Yeah, perhaps let's take a look. If let's say today we are kind of seeing why do we want to show the 1, 2, and 3 bedroom, because these are typically the most popular ones. And of course, if let's say you are a big family, you're looking at the 4 bedrooms or even the 5 bedrooms and penthouses, don't mind to kind of reach out to us. We'll be able to share with you privately what are some of the layouts that make sense, for your property purchase. And I would just want to give you guys a quick glimpse about how the entire area is. And do stay tuned, because at the end of this sharing, I'll be showcasing you a video where we're going to do a fly through of the entire property place, okay, of reserve residences. So we're going to do a fly through. So you must stay on. If you have any questions regarding any of the developments that we're the layout that we're sharing, feel free to just put in the comment section. We will be glad to actually help you with it later on. Okay, let's give it a second just to make sure that we're still live right now. All right, so you can see that the entire design is very not just urban city, but there's a lot of greens thanks to the architect Waha. They like to build in a lot of greens in this sense to kind of give it a little bit more less urbanized, but you still get the nature where we are at. So the space between the buildings to buildings are also very comfortable. As I mentioned, some of them can stretch as far as 45 meters. And these are all what a very strong developer will always think about. They will not just massively build a lot of properties. They will also have a lot more communal areas, a lot more greeneries, gardens, to kind of give the consumers, the families, a lifestyle living instead of staying in a concrete jungle. So even from the night view, you can see the kind of lifestyle that you can see yourself staying. Okay, so I think this is very crucial. So I just want to touch on a little bit, if you're not so sure about where the location is, let me just run you through. We are in a very prime Beauty World location, where we are well connected by all the various expressways. But I just want to really run through some of the comparisons. Okay, so now we're going to go into the comparisons in terms of the prices, the numbers. So some of the residential properties comparable to housing for the reserve residences are just some of this. All right, so we have Daintree, which is a leasehold property. So they're about 800 kilometers away, 800 meters away. So basically the number of units and the average per square foot, this is where I want you guys to really study this a little bit more. So in Singapore Resident Insider, we uses the 5-point analysis to kind of determine what is the correct entry price so that we can make it very safe for exit in future. So by not just looking at how much the property is going to launch, right? So developers are able to launch at any prices they want. But if we do our homework before that and we understand the property surrounding, what is the average per square foot, we will be able to see it better from the pricing, and are we actually overpaying to some certain extent. So I'm going to do a very live comparison right now with one of our vendors, H Property. Right? So you can see that now I'm live in H Property. So if let's say today I'm just going to do this live, and one of the key properties around the area is called the Link. Okay, why do I want to pull this property out? Because this is the property that basically is just opposite the reserve residences, and this is also still under construction. Okay, they are going to be ready in the next 1 to 2 years, and this is a mixed development, which means there are also shops at the bottom. Okay, very similar to the reserve residences, but of course this is not so big scale lah, or there's no transport hub inside. So there's still shops and malls, and I want to just draw your attention to some of the information about this property. So this property, the only difference is it's a smaller plot. It's also a mixed development, and it's a freehold property. So when they were launching this back then, the average per square foot, you can see is between 2007 to 2000 average indicative price range. So later on, we're going to cover some of the details of prices for this property to use this as a benchmark. Okay, so can you imagine if a freehold property just opposite you is already transacted at X dollar? So you should be able to expect whether a leasehold property like reserve residences, how much should they be calling in terms of a premium? Because yes, first, they are a leasehold property. All right, so they definitely will not be able to command the same price as the Link. But reserve residences is an integrated transport hub, okay, with service apartment, with retail malls, your bus interchange, and the connector to the future community hub. So all this does play a premium as well as prices. But now let's see the link prices. All right, so we already have a sub-sale unit, okay, which is in the March. For a one bedroom, a sub-sale, people are really going for 2,700 plus per square foot. But if we talk about when they launch, most of course, these are all the 5 bedrooms. 5 bedrooms are usually the last to go. But if we call about 2020, where the last 3 bedroom was, their freehold property was actually transacted at $2,372 per square foot. And this is on a 18th floor. So this gives you a good benchmark in terms of a price for a 3 bedroom freehold property there. And you can see that their sizes are also not massively big. Okay, so that's why when you're looking at property prices, it's not just about the price. You also need to look at the size, the layout. There's a lot of computations that we do to kind of get our clients to select the right property at the right time. So if we go further, so averagely their 3 bedrooms, 3 bedrooms are hovering about 2002 to 2003, and these are all on the high floor units. Okay, so from here you can kind of give an estimate. What will reserve residences be calling? There's a lot of marketing report that says that they will be calling at $2,300 bare minimum onwards. So we are expecting the prices to be at least about 2,005 range, and in terms of per square foot, because the market has shifted ever since 2020. So definitely from a developer standpoint, I will not want to sit back and underprice my property, because this is a prestige, very unique property type that you can kind of imagine. So at the same time, let us pull out some of the real data nearby the reserve residences, and see how are they performing. And let's take Mayfair Modern as a estimate to see how the property is. Okay, so Mayfair Modern. So Mayfair is also very close by. Of course, they are nearer to the King Albert Park side where the new Cross Island Line is going to be. Okay, so this is also another leasehold property. Okay, 171 units. So let's look at the prices. So for 3 bedroom, their bigger size is already transacting at least $2,400 per square foot. And this is a sub-sale unit, meaning as a second-hand property, right? They did not buy this at launch. But as a sub-sale, the Mayfair area is already commanding at least 2,400 plus per square foot for a 3 bedroom. And if you look at some of the new launch prices, we don't have the 2 bedroom here. Let's take a look at the next page. Whether we use a 3 bedroom as a gauge, because that's the benchmark that you can know. Yeah, or we can use a 2 bedroom benchmark instead. So a 2 bedroom benchmark, you can see from 2022, they're talking about 2002 to 2003 range, plus minus. Okay, 2002 to 2003 range, depending on floor level. So this is the kind of expectation you can see in the Upper Bukit Timah area, Beauty World area. And let's just pull out another project here where is Forex. All right, so Forex since 2018, 2019 is actually very popular, because a lot of buyers in that location, they are looking at buying into that kind of landed facilities, right? You want to be in the midst of landed. And for Forex is one of the very rare one where it's also a freehold property with 663 units. So they're all low rise, which makes it a very tranquil kind of lifestyle. You're among the landed properties, and the consumers or homeowners there, they enjoy this kind of lifestyle where you're not high rise. So some people don't like high rise. So let us take a look at the sale transactions, and we are still having some new sales going on, which is February this year for the 904. You can see about 2,000. Of course, they are not specifically like near to the MRT. They are near, but you have to either walk, or you can just take a very short 1 to 2 bus stops to the MRT. So in terms of price points, of course, they cannot price like what the link is, because the link is practically the MRT just right at your doorstep. And can they also market themselves higher, like the reserve residences, if let's say from $2,005 PSF onwards? May not be. But I would say that for anyone who wants to kind of go into the entire beauty world transformation and still enjoy the kind of transformation, the vibrancy of it, you can actually explore a little bit further away, and it's not going to break your bank. It's not definitely not going to break your bank, because at $2,000 per square foot, back in 2018, 2019, this is considered high. But today, now you look back, is it very cheap? Okay, is it very cheap? All right. So another project I want to really cover is also View at Kismis. View at Kismis. Okay, just to give you a good kind of idea about pricing around the area. And this is very important in terms of research, because today, if you're just blindly going into the show flat, and whenever you see the models, the show flat is so pretty, you will just want to buy it, because that's what the show flats are for. But you are buying in without knowing what is the pricing. You do not know whether are you buying the most expensive, because there may be premium loading into reserve residences. We won't know, right, until when you really sit down, do the data, run the research, run the numbers, then you'll be able to see the comparison. So View at Kismis is also another, excuse me. Yeah, so another leasehold property. Okay, another leasehold property here, right? About 186 units. So let's take a look at the sales for this. All right, so there are already sub-sales for 2 bedrooms going about $2,000 per square foot. All right, so same thing, View at Kismis also, you need to kind of walk it out to the MRT, and they're very similar to Forex. All right, 1 or 2 bus stops to the MRT. So these are all, that's why their price very attractive, still below 2,000. All right, now if you are able to buy a transformation area with below $2,000 per square foot, it's a steal. Oh, it's a steal. So another one that I want to show you, which is slightly further away, and this is one of the furthest property away from the Beauty World MRT, but you are still very convenient, because right in front of Verdell itself is already a bus stop. And by taking, if I'm not mistaken, 3 or 4 bus stops, you will reach Beauty World MRT, where all the vibrancy, all the activities are. And for Verdell, basically, it's also a leasehold property, all right, with 258. Also low rise, very tucked in one corner, where it's very quiet, and you are away from all the bustling traffic and everything. So let's just take a look at the latest transactions in 2022, where the 2 bedrooms are already going at 1,008. Can you see? So they are all hovering about 1,007, 1,008 to 1,009 for prices away from the MRT. So if you are looking at to buy the reserve, and the reserve, if they are going for 2,500 plus onwards in terms of per square foot, you know, what is the main kind of difference that you can see versus some of all this property, whether it's Verdell, View at Kismis, Forex, Mayfair Modern, you know, how big of a difference is the prices? And this is very crucial for us to study for the gap in terms of your surrounding competition. Because one of the key things that we share for properties is, if your surrounding properties are a very huge difference in terms of price point, in terms of per square foot, you know, will you be ending up buying the most expensive in a location, which means you may need to hold on to that property longer so that you can capitalize your gain. Does it make sense? So these are some of the research whenever we advise our clients to really study into it carefully from the data and numbers, instead of just blindly going in, oh, because this is so good, or because this is, you know, such an iconic property, and just buy into that. So we do have seen many homeowners, they make mistake buying properties because of the hype, buying because, oh, it's just so pretty, you know. So our role in to help our clients is, we understand all these projects coming up are very exciting, but we also have to do our due diligence check to make sure that the figures make sense as well. So definitely reserve residences is a iconic property, and I'm not saying that the prices they're going to launch, because we don't know how much are they going to launch. So if they're going to launch at 2003, really great, I can tell you it's a steal. But if let's say they really climb their prices up to a little bit from 2005 onwards, you know, we may want to think twice, because in comparison to the rest of the properties, there's a huge gap versus the rest, where basically you are just 2 or even 3 bus stops away to the heart of Beauty World, which you can still go to the malls, you can still use the MRT. So these are all different types of projections that we have at the moment. Okay, so I want to continue to share with you guys what makes reserve. Okay, so besides just the design, one of the key things why many people buy into beauty world area is definitely the schools. Okay, we are 1 km to Methodist Girls' School as well as Pei Hwa schools. So this becomes another talking point, another consideration factors for you to buy, whether you're buying for own stay or for investment, because schools are always favorable. Okay, schools are always favorable, and it has been known that if your property is near any great schools, 1 km, your desirable demand is going to be very, very high. All right, so to show you the area, what surrounding, let me just share with you. There's also the direct connectivity I share with you. It's going to be a community hub in future. So there's a direct link from reserve residences to the hawker centers, markets, and eateries. And who don't remember all these low-rise kind of restaurants? I used to go there after I play basketball in Nian to go eat Johnson Duck. I don't think it's there anymore. Okay, and not only from the eateries and amenities, you are also very near to the nature. Okay, so the completion of the rear corridor is already done, and the opening of the Rifle Range Nature Park is also there. So which means you are in the heart of Beauty World, but yet you still get the connectivity to some of all this nature, which is, I would say, is a must, especially after COVID. Every one of us start seeing that how important it is to have a balcony space, to have areas in the condo facilities where I can walk around, I can move around, and nature parks like this to just go to if I find that it's a little bit more suffocating. Okay, so I think a lot of consumers right now, they appreciate the nearing to the nature parks, as well as the Bukit Timah Rochor Green Corridor. All right, this is definitely going to be open up soon, and it's going to link all the way, okay, all the way potentially to Kallang Riverside as well. So these are all some of the perks of reserve residences where we are at. And but most importantly, I want to share with every one of you is not just that reserve residences is strategically positioned. Okay, and I'm going to share with you why is it strategically positioned. Government don't want to build a transport hub just for the sake of building. There must be a certain weightage. And that is why when we further study into the plans, we realize what are they trying to achieve. Okay, and later on, I will also share with you seeing how reserve residences is and how Beauty World transformation is. We're going to study a little bit on the master plan. We're going to study and kind of look into the master plan, what is in store for Beauty World area in the next 5-10 years down the road. And we're going to dive into master plan, and I'm going to share with you a potential upside, what you as a homeowner or as an investor can get if you're buying the reserve. Okay, so stay tuned. Let me share with you the connectivity. So we are basically right smack in the center. Okay, we are one station to future Cross Island Line, which is at King Albert Park site. The connectivity itself is marvelous. We are just interchange a few stations away to get to all the different parts of Singapore. So this is definitely one of the key things that why Beauty World for the last 5-6 years has been getting a lot of traction. A lot of consumers, buyers, investors start exploring into that area when Beauty World MRT was up. So can you imagine for the last 10-15 years or even 20 years, if anybody tell you about Beauty World, you'll be like, how to go there? It's so difficult. But ever since the MRT is there, there's a change of vibrancy, there's change of outlets, restaurants, cafes, and you start seeing people going there because of the connectivity. So this is definitely going to be a very huge thing with the transport hub in reserve residences as well. And the interchange for Cross Island Line at King Albert Park is also very close by. So you can practically also walk there. Also, the Cross Island Line will cut through the interchange at King Albert Park and is also going to link all the way to the Jurong Lake District. So the Cross Island Line is not a new story. So we already know where the stations are. But the key thing is that the King Albert Park, Cross Island Line, as well as Beauty World is very near to each other. So if you are staying in reserve residences, you can basically just choose between which kind of MRT, which MRT you want to go to commute in your daily work and for your daily work and lifestyles. So the one thing part of the phase 2 of Jurong Lake District, and this is big. This is also something why I would presume, okay, this is what I'm guessing from studying master plan and urban planning. why would they build service apartments? Okay, largely, it likely is going to link to phase 2 of Cross Island Line to direct connect to the Jurong Lake district, because that will become Singapore's second CBD. And with that, we are going to create a lot more new jobs, a lot more new homes. And when there's connectivity, they may also want to stay in reserve residences, and for their foreign counterparts, the service apartments make sense, where they can get all the amenities, all the facilities, and yet they are still connect by MRT close enough to their workspace in Jurong. So that's why what we do here is to really connect the dots for you guys, to let you see what is happening for the properties. So I also want to take this chance to share with you the master plan. Okay, master plan, urban planning, very important whenever we are buying properties. Even you are buying for own stay, you also want to have a glimpse about what is happening. So the blue color side, this is reserve residences. Okay, let me use a different color. All right, this is reserve residences side. Okay, so all the orangey color that you can see, these are all the residential sites. But I want to share with you what the blue color ones are. Okay, what are the blue color ones? Okay, so if you can see from here, there are basically a few blue color plots, and this blue color plots means it's a mixed development. Okay, so it means they can build commercial as well as residential. So the rest of the plots are already up. Okay, so let me just share with you. This is already done. This is the link. Okay, this is Bukit Timah, the shopping mall. So basically what we are seeing is that there's still one plot, okay, of a mixed development, commercial and residential, still up for grabs. And this is where the open public car park is, just beside the MRT. So this is something that we spotted, that means in this location, are we expecting another mixed development with retail space and shopping areas, which makes it a golden triangle, right? You have 3 different malls, the link, reserve residences, and of course the unknown plot of land, which may be released in time to come, in line with the entire Beauty World transformation site. Yeah, so that is crucial to know. Okay, very important. So if we start seeing, let me just show you from another side of information. Give me a second. Let me just switch my screen. Give me a second. Let me just show you the actual master plan so you can have. Okay. So if you can see right from here, so this is the, if I click on here, subject to detailed planning. Okay, so these are all the plots. So this is reserve residences. Okay, let me just refresh this perhaps. Okay, let's just do this live. Internet a little bit slow today. Let's see. Okay, if it doesn't work, let's just skip this. Okay, cool. Cool. So you can see that if let's say we're talking about this, it shows commercial and residential. Okay, it shows commercial and residential. And this is where the open car park is. So this is definitely in the pipeline to be launched for sale, or to be bidded, to redevelop into a mixed development. So it's going to be quite exciting. Excuse me. Going to be exciting to see all this mixed development being transformed. Okay, and what we see is that with this huge reserve residences in place, it will be the start of the entire rejuvenation of entire Bukit Timah stretch. And if you can see from here, excuse me, pardon my sneeze. All right, seems I'm falling sick very soon. All right, but I pound through because I promise you guys that I'll be sharing all this with you. Yeah, so this is the entire MRT area. Okay, Beauty World is here. So we are seeing that perhaps this is the plot where the future mixed development is going to be at Jalan Sing Chuan. Okay, this is the only open area that we can see it based on the entire master plan as well as the map. All right, so this is important. So I want to draw your attention also to a very small plot. Let me just zone in a little bit bigger so you can see. So you can see the center of this is reserve residences. Okay, TOP 2026. Okay, this is the estimate, but we have gotten news about at least 2028 to 2031 even. That is the official data. So one thing that you see, the link is here. This is the freehold land, which is also a mixed development. That's why they are the closest to Beauty World MRT. They are the closest to Beauty World MRT. But beside that, can you see this? Bukit Timah link. There's actually this smaller triangular plot of land that is there. Kind of, no, a lot of people don't know lah. Okay, why? Because you can't really tell, so small versus all the big giants nearby, and everybody is focusing on reserve. But why do I want to share with you this information? Because, oops, let's see. Okay, let's see again. All right, so this 60A Bukit Timah link, the reason why I want to point out this is because we also, whenever we buy any properties, one of the key factors we need to do is to also look at future plots of lands. Have they been sold for? What is the estimate prices? So besides the Jalan Sichuan future mixed development site, Bukit Timah link was actually purchased by Bukit Sembawang, and they already submitted a bid for $1,343 per square foot per PPR. So this is that site, which is just in front of the reserve residences. So this is the government land sales. They already sold this back in, let me see, 2022, September, August, that period. Okay, so this, you can see this is the first 50,000 square foot. So it's, in comparison, this is like a child lah. Compared to reserve is like the giant, right? So this one is like a baby. Okay, very a smaller plot. But yet at the same time, Bukit Sembawang sees potential in that area of transformation, and that's why they put in a top bid of 200 million for that site, which works out to about $1,343 per square foot per PPR. Okay, so one of the, of course, there's a lot of other costs to factor in for the sale of the launch. So one of the way that I guide my clients to look at prices in terms of PSF from their per plot ratio is simply just ×2. So if, let's say, Bukit Sembawang, they bought this land for 1,343 per square foot per PPR, likelihood when they're going to launch this in time to come, it should hovers about $2,500 to $2,600 per square foot. So let me ask every one of you here, if a smaller plot like this is going to launch at that kind of pricing, and if reserve residences, even they are intending to launch at 2,004, 2,005 per square foot, is it still worth it? With the integration, with the shopping mall, with the connecting bridge to the community hub, as well as service apartment and residential on top of it. So this is how we look at comparison for prices to see whether any plot of properties, any projects, will there be any upsides by comparing to neighbors' plot of land, whether there are any GLS going on. Yeah, so this is the information that we have, which basically gives a very good, indication about how the reserve residences, perhaps this is also one of the reasons why they will definitely not launch at the 2,000, low 2,000 range. Okay, reason being, they are also aware if, let's say, they price it too low, then future plot lands may have to suffer, and it will not do well for us as consumers because our prices will not be able to push up. So that is also another strategic move, that if reserve residences, when they are launched, they are really launching about the 2004 range to 2005 range. Excuse me. It could be basically starting from there, and the higher floors may be reaching even higher per square foot. So this is all part of the strategies for pricing, which at the moment, none of us will know what kind of pricing they're going to launch, which is why it's very important to sit down with us to guide you on how to see the properties, prices, layout, and the facing to make a decision whether is this the right property we should go for, or could there be other developments out there that could make more sense in terms of price point. So this is what we do to help you guys in terms of the choosing of development. Okay. So another areas that I want to really touch on is I want to share with you a difference between the normal condos out there that we have been seeing, the normal residential properties, and what is the difference between the reserve residences. So reserve residences, we all know that this is an integrated property. Okay, an integrated property. And the question is, we call it 包家 for durian. That means if today you want everything inside a development, reserve residences is the one to go, because why? It has everything, ma. Or it's like your king of the king durian. Mao Zhong's what Wang Zhong Wang durian. Because integrated, ma. So you got everything there. So integrated transport hubs is a term utilized by LTA, right? It is to describe a development that has air-conditioned bus interchange, commercial shopping mall, MRT, everything kind of linked up together. So in Singapore, right, there's only 12 of them. Okay, 12 of them are integrated transport hubs, and they have residences on top. But do they have additional perks like what reserve residences has? Do they have the service apartment part of it? Do they have a connecting bridge towards the community hub? So some of all these perks only reserve residences has. And we're going to uncover some of these other properties that kind of are the mixed development linked to the MRT. Some of them are integrated, of course. And how do they deem it? Is basically, this is how LTA defines integrated property. Okay, they're seamlessly linked to MRT stations, okay, with commercial development. So basically, there's a few integrated developments with transport hubs in Singapore. All right, so if you don't know, basically this is your first time seeing, we have Campus Heights, we have the Centuries, we have Budo Residences, Keelan Residences, as well as North Park. So basically, these are the top 5. But one thing you must know that it is a very rare situation where they will build a integrated transport hub in the city fringe area, which is rest of Central Core, RCR. Because all these are in the mass market, which is generally where all the masses are. Okay, most of the homeowners stay in the different neighborhoods, different estates. That is why there is a need for areas in OCR to house integrated transport hubs. But we see a trend moving, meaning more educations, more educated consumers, buyers. They want to stay maybe perhaps nearer to town. So reserve residences is the first to be in the RCR zone, which is very, very exciting. Okay, so this is going to be the first one. So I'm going to just run through very quickly in terms of some of these development prices, just to give you a sense about integrated properties, right? How do they fare in terms of prices? Okay, so of course, we compare the top 5. These are the top 5, right? And they are all completed, plus minus. For Campus Heights was, of course, one of the oldest first pilot project for integration, and it has fared very well in the beginning. And of course, with things change, property gets aged. So averagely, you can see that their average per square foot ranging from 1,200 plus, you see, in terms of the price, maximum price per average. Centuries is about 1,400 plus, Budo Residences 1,008, Villain about 1,008, and North Park Residences can even go up to 2,000 per square foot. So today, all these properties are the older ones. They are the older comparison for transport hubs. So if today you are getting a brand new reserve residences right smack in the center of the transformation of Beauty World, will it worth a chance to buy into this property as an iconic property and just hold on to this property at least for the next 10 to even 15 years down the road? You see, I still remember when Budo Residences was launched, I did advise my client to purchase, but of course, they have a different thought process. End up, they did not buy. 3 years later, when it was launched, when it was ready, my buyers come back to me and say, Edmund, I should have just listened to you to buy Budo Residences, because they saw that the vibrancy, the capital gain, and as well as the rental, they are able to get so much more. So there's always a perks in terms of integrated properties, but I also want to lay down a very real concern. It will not come cheap. Okay, so don't expect reserve residences to come in and say that, oh, because I have so many units, I want to slash my prices to sell. I don't think it will be that case, because ultimately the premium of reserve residences is that there's a lot of perks to call it a premium property. So what we are seeing is today, if we are able to buy into this premium product, it will be something that is iconic enough that you can call, hey, I own this property with integrated transport hub, MRT link, community hub link, and shopping mall at the same time. So this is what we call the iconic type of properties that we all want. So in a short while, I'll be sharing with you, developers will also want to make sure that they are priced sensitively to move forward, to get the sales going. So I say we will not be able to know what is the average per square foot launch at the moment until the launch day. So for the many of you who saw this and you like what you are seeing and you really want to explore more, that, hey, could this property reserve residences be something that you can call home or for your investment in time to come, and you need more guidance in terms of data analysis and your own clarity of your objective, feel free to reach out to us so that we can help you to kind of dive in using data and numbers and research to help you look out for the blind spots that you may not have seen while you're doing it yourself. So part of our consultation with our clients is really to kind of sit down, we analyze every single details about your needs, your wants, and your objective before we move forward. Perhaps reserve is something that you can go for, but what if there are other better products out there that could fit your needs and wants a lot better? And that's where we will guide you and share with you a little bit more on what properties to choose that is with a safe entry so that you can exit in time to come. So I hope that you guys enjoyed today's sharing regarding reserve residences. And again, if let's say you really want to take a look at the reserve residences, the slots for the public are already open. We have to kind of reserve it for you. Reserve the reserve residences time slot ahead for you. So ping me up, let me know, put your ask me any questions in the comment section, and I'll be glad to actually guide you on how to do the bookings and everything. So meanwhile, if you have any other projects that you kind of like more data-driven analysis on, feel free to share in the comment below what other projects you would like us to do the research and to share with you on the video. We'll be glad to do that. All right. So with that, first of all, I really apologize. My energy level, my tone of voice is really kind of lower than previous times because of my sneezing problem. And I also pardon that in between I sneeze, I need to kind of do my adjustments a little bit. But I'm really glad that you guys are still joining me here. And I make a promise that I'm going to do this live with you because I want to really deliver this information out to you firsthand. Even though I'm sick, I'm glad that you guys are enjoying this. And I really, really want you guys to benefit from what we have shared here so far, to take some of all these keynotes with you whenever you are searching for your property in future. All right, with that, I'm going to go for my rest, and ping me up if you have any questions regarding reserve residences or any other property matters. If not, shall see you in my other various channels very soon. Thank you so much and have a great day. Bye.